Yeah, against this right back, Charlie. Definitely.
You always use that active and that defending. I think it's like. You always use that active and that defending. I think it's like. You always use that active and that defending. I think it's like.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian. Come on, Ian. First things first, happy Sunday. You know, again, if I haven't seen you to do with September, you know, blessings for the new month. Hope you and your loved ones are in good health. As usual, people deluded, I'm back again. Man said one more for the guys. Why? Galley as well, but I'm a man of the people.
You always use that active and that defending. I think it's like.
Sit back and make myself a little more humpy, innit? So yeah, the people get what the people want. Obviously, it's war day. It's another London derby. It's Arsenal versus Manchester United. You know, big up to the Manchester fans that are actually over them sides. You know, a lot of them are from North London. Some of them are from South and things. It's a social media derby. It's a game we can't lose. We've got some injury concerns. United have some injury concerns, and we should be fancying our chances. But what I say to that is, you know, Nottingham Forest, arguably, United's injuries or not arguably, do they have a better starting 11 than what United could put out? Fulham the same. They both gave us, you know, difficult games to mix success. So again, the beautiful thing about football is you can't look on paper. Clearly, we look a lot more healthier than Man United. We're ahead of our schedule. I'm sure if you ask Man United fans and Arsenal fans, I don't think Arsenal fans are fully happy with their business, nor do I in the market, nor do I think Man United fans are completely dismayed. But we're moving more healthier, but it doesn't mean anything. And again, the one thing that concerns me is, unfortunately, I expect to concede. Not that we travel well to Old Trafford, but just because of, I believe, how we play. Smash the like button, by the way, and big up the Twitch and Twitter ones. I think there's too much drama at the Emirates. You know, Fulham, there was a lot of drama. Last year against Fulham, there was a lot of drama. The Man United game that's to come is going to be filled with drama. The Man United game that we played at the Emirates last season is filled with drama. Specifically, I don't know what it is, but I just feel we're more crisper defensively. We're more switched on away from home. I don't know what it is at the Emirates. I don't know if it's the atmosphere. I don't know if it's complacency. I don't know if there's a slight difference Arteta is demanding how they play. I don't know if it's something individually with the players, but I expect drama today. Of course, I want to win. Again, I want to bounce back against Fulham. It's our last game before the international break, and you don't want to lose against Man United. I'm sure everybody's group chats are going crazy, and also you need to perform against the top 6 sides. We've dropped 2 points. You know, City are running away with it. If we want to fight for a league title and things like that, we need to get 3 points. We just got to pray it's a groin strain rather than a tear. If it's a strain, it's 2 to 3 weeks. If it's a tear, it's 6 to 8 weeks plus staggered training until fully fit again. Big up yourself, Gary. What I would say is, we've been here with Partey. Of course, it's a bitter pill to swallow. Partey is key to the system, whether he's playing right back or in centre mid. But we've seen this story enough times with Partey individually and players collectively. And again, injuries are not nothing that, as you lot know, are just something that Arsenal are affected by. We have to get on with it. You know, whether we should have bought someone or tried to buy someone or didn't, they're all valid points, but they're irrelevant. We have to use what we have. I don't know if Mikel Arteta is simply going to shift Benjamin White to right back, bring back in Gabriel, and then, you know, maneuver with Odegaard, Havertz and Rice, which is probably a midfield trio. He's aiming to be our long-term sort of thing. I don't know if he's going to do that. I would love for El Nene to be fit in some capacity to be on the bench. I don't know if he's going to bring Jorginho in. I don't know if it's unlikely, but start Fabio Vieira or Smith Rowe. Arteta is a smart man. You know injuries can strike at any time. Early in the season, we've had Zinchenko with a knock. Timber's obviously gone. Jesus has had minor surgery. There's rumours about Partey. We're going to get into that because 1 minute Partey's posting on Instagram. We don't know. I'm sure you saw 24 hours ago social media and everything going crazy as to Thomas Partey. Some reports and some in the know say that this happened on Wednesday and it's a grade 3 or something, and he faces the prospect of being out for 3 months. Now, I don't quite agree with some fans saying we've got enough until January. There's a lot of games, but at the end of the day, we're going to have enough. Who plays in midfield with Rice, Jude, and with Rice, Jude Bellingham, and who? Not too sure. You'd have to ask Southgate, really. I think we should be playing Rice, Jorginho, and Odegaard in midfield today. To play Rice on his own with 2 creative midfielders in Odegaard and Havertz is asking too much of Rice defensively. Bang on the money, I believe so as well. As much as Declan Rice is a breath of fresh air, he's clearly being groomed to play the number 8 role. He's a 6 by trade. That's what got him 100 million odd signing to Arsenal. He's not Superman. You can't expect him to do anything. As you know, football is ultimately won and lost in both boxes and your ability to defend and score. And I think we didn't do that against Fulham. You know, again, in the middle, if we all know football's 90 minutes, but I don't think we started that game well. I don't think we ended it. In the middle is all right. If we kind of keep that analogy, we need to win the midfield battle, but we need to be efficient and effective in terms of the final third. I personally don't think we've been defending to the standard we have in the 3 games we've seen. Crystal Palace is the only game I have to big up our team. I think we defended superbly, but the 2 games at the Emirates, anything but, really and truly, and it's reflected in the 3 goals. I know we've got 7 points from a potential 9, and again, it's only 3 games, but I don't feel we're correlating the possession to proper clear-cut chances. I don't think we're quite there what we used to be. I think we need to hit the ground running a lot more. We need to move a bit faster in that regards, if I'm honest, man. I'm not sure Gareth likes Henderson. Personally, I would play Ward-Prowse. He's underrated, in my opinion. His delivery from set pieces is top class. You're right. I think Henderson's in the squad, as is Calvin Phillips. Man United's midfielders will be combative today with Casemiro, Bruno and Ericsson. We need to match the physicality and energy in midfield. United's defense is vulnerable. We should go for the jugular fast start. I think it might be a carbon copy of last year in that, you know, had we have drawn or lost that game, fortunately we won. I don't think we could have any complaints because I think for the neutrals, it was a crazy game. It was an enjoyable game to watch, but it was anything but. It was filled with individual mistakes, individual brilliance, etc., etc. Has Amrabat actually travelled? Because I didn't see his name when I saw the United travelling party 2-0 Arsenal. I'd love to say that. I hope we do, but forgive me, but I'm quite pessimistic in relation to a clean sheet. D, appreciate you. Best intro on YouTube. I don't know about that, but I appreciate that. Zubiamendi, I don't rate, as we need a right wing. We're going to live or die by midfield now. I personally said I thought we was a centre mid short, and in situations like that, I wanted the dream scenario of whether it's another number 6 or another number 8. You've got whoever that would have been who it isn't at this moment. You've got Rice, you've got Partey, you've got Jorginho. At least for a year, you've got El Nene in and around. You've got the kind of false centre mids in Fabio Vieira, Odegaard, Smith Rowe, and what have you. If I've missed anyone else out, I think we're a centre mid short. I would have liked a right winger. I would have liked another defensive body to cope with Timber's injury because a bit like Partey, I love Tomiyasu. I like him for the squad. I like the fact that he's versatile. But the only thing I can knock Tomiyasu about is you're never quite convinced that he will be available for the majority of the campaign. Zinchenko doesn't really get major injuries. Hopefully that's not the case, but he picks up little knocks as well. Again, Tierney wanted to leave. He probably forced the manager's hand. He said he wants to play. That's great, but I would have loved the luxury of at least having Tierney on the bench to see out games and all of those sort of things. 3-0 Arsenal and Nketiah bags first. Do you know what? In a funny way, I think Nketiah needs to start today, you know, but at the same time, if Jesus is fit, I think you got to bring the 2 Brazilian lads back in. I need to see Gabriel and I need to see Gabriel Jesus, really and truly. What's the story about the song for the intro? There is no story, you know, just one of you lot made it. One of the viewers, man. There's no crazy story in that regard. It's just here we are today. Højlund is coming. I hope not, man. I hope not. Will Arteta go back to his normal 4 or will he use his... Will he still whack another centre mid at right back? You'd imagine he'd have to go back to a more traditional kind of 11, but I think he's going to keep doing what he's doing. Thoughts on Patino's loan spell? Do you think he can play the left 8 role for us? Just give the man time, let him develop. I think he started his loan spell like a house on fire. He's got a number of assists, got one at the weekend. As Arteta said, we have to slow cook him. DG, I hope you're dressed in black for United's burial later. I'll put my Arsenal shirt on later, but yeah, man, it's a quick wardrobe change. DG, as I commented on your previous video, Operation Zubiamendi begins in January. Please do one of your tactical vids on him because he's the ideal replacement. I think everybody's probably bored of me talking about Zubiamendi, if I'm completely honest with you. Would love him in the club, but he's not here. DG, Man City signed 2 8s while we signed none. Bit harsh because you could say we signed 2 8s based on what Havertz is being deployed as and how we're trying to develop Declan Rice. But I would have liked 2 organic centre mids. You know, I've previously sat here on a video and said I would love Nunes of Wolves and I would love Kovacic. Maybe Pep Guardiola's listening to the guy. I don't know. I hear you, DG. You don't want drama, but I feel we play better when we are free flowing and flat out. When we try and soak up pressure, the passing doesn't look as crisp. Sorry, I want full throttle today. I hear that. I'm always gonna until Arsenal show me something different. I'm always gonna be pessimistic on how we defend. Really, Partey loves to duck big games. I hear that, but you know he bossed Man United last season, excluding the Rashford mistake. Didn't think he was at OT. He wasn't. And to be honest, again, like last year, we didn't learn our mistakes. To be fair to Lokonga, if we're rocking up to Old Trafford, the ground we've won the league at, but we don't travel well to. And you know, in the Premier League, if you want to achieve things, you need to be able to go to Old Trafford, regardless of where Man United are, Liverpool, and all of these teams, you know, the Brightons, the Newcastles, and get results. And we have done that in some cases, but you can't rock up there with Lokonga in the middle of the park. Partey has not travelled. Boy, who knows, man? Who knows? Keep your thoughts coming, people. But let's get straight into this Partey stuff and everything else in relation to Arsenal. Charles Watson said, Arsenal will be delighted with Ghana FA putting out their own injury update on Partey just ahead of the United game. The couple of weeks assessment is certainly far more optimistic than what has been doing the rounds for the last 24 hours. We shall see. And again, that's a tweet in which he's included Partey. He sustained a groin injury during training on Thursday, August the 31st, 2023. He's currently unavailable as club doctors predict he's likely to be out for a couple of weeks. Moving on from that, as you can see, it's the same thing. I did do a video on this and we did cover this, but to kind of read the only paragraph that is relevant to Arsenal fans, big up the Ghanaians. Arsenal ace Thomas Partey is left out of the squad due to injury. According to his club, the player picked up an injury in training and could be on the sidelines for a while. However, the Black Stars medical team is monitoring the situation, so it don't sound good at all. Partey, again, anyone can upload anything on Instagram, but typically these footballers of all clubs, they upload these sort of graphics, so I do hope it's a bit of game playing from Arsenal. But Partey's uploaded on his Instagram this image, if this means anything, people, so we'll have to monitor this situation. Allegedly, he has started just 64% of Arsenal's Premier League games since he joined the club, and I think there's only 2 things you can knock with Thomas Partey. I feel he's a quality player, and I'm happy to have him. But I just feel there's 2 things I can knock from him. Over a 38-game calendar, Partey is good a lot of the time, but there's 5-6 games where he's great. Like, he really bosses it. He shows the Partey that we thought we was getting. And then obviously injuries. You know, the best trait you could have as a footballer is being available. And Partey's a flight risk. Unfortunately, Tierney was that, even though he was fit by his own standards last year. I know some people are sitting here and saying, oh, you know what, Arsenal are playing games so he doesn't get called up to international duty. I hear that, but we dropped 2 points last week. We're in a big game against Man United, who finished 3rd or 4th or whatever. You know, we need to bounce back. It leaves a sour taste in your mouth if you do not win before the international break. Fair enough, it's only a week. He needs to play if he's fit in it, and he's key to Arteta's system, whether it was him and Xhaka in midfield last season, and, you know, he's right back right now. Partey's found a way to be into the team. We left ourselves short last 2 Januaries, and it cost us Champions League and last season the league. We're doing the same again. I hear that. But to be fair, last January, I was a bit more impressed because at least we brought in Trossard and Kyrgios. The season before that, we didn't. DG, do you think we should sell Partey? I mean, I don't know if he'll be here a year from now. He's contracted until 2025. I hear it when people say, oh, sell him. He's always injured. He's a flight risk. I get it. I understand it. But why not just sign someone else? And then you can have Partey as much as you want. If he's not there, we keep it moving, really. And who else are we going to bring in, essentially? You know, some fans had their way. As soon as Declan Rice walked into the club, not saying you, Partey's gone. You know, as great as Declan Rice is, if he's not there, or he has to go centre back if there's bodies dropped in our team, what happens there? We should be over prepared. And I did feel we was getting a lot of decent depth, but with Timber's injury, with a couple of players leaving, with us starting the transfer window well and not necessarily bringing other players, it's crazy. Zinchenko and Jesus made a big difference last year. Apparently, on the back again account, Gabriel starts today. But it's a day for the trenches. He needs to. This Sociedad relationship could cook. I hear that. Is your back 4 going to be reshuffled if Partey, Tomiyasu, and Zini's out? Ain't Tomiyasu back after serving his suspension? I'm not too sure. I heard that Arteta and Eddie knew Partey was injured before the end of the season, according to Guna Talk Tom Canton. Well, then, big up Tom. If they did know that, then they had to have moved in the market. Fair enough, if they did try and move in the market and they couldn't find a player that could improve us and whatnot. I'm not a fan of signing players for no reason, but to me as an ignorant fan, I've been saying for the last few years on my YouTube channel and during the summers that we need to address central midfield. When everyone's fit, there's some great options, but I've always said I think we're a centre mid short. Right now, we're going to have to get on with it, man. Facts, not creating / blitzing teams like we were last season. And it is 4 games deep with the 4th coming later today. Make sure you're here for the watch along, people. But so I'm not expecting Arsenal to be firing on all cylinders. I'm pretty sure even Pep would say City aren't, but it could be a lot better. Partey never had the reputation of being injury prone in Spain. What do you think has caused this? Do you think it's just the pace of the league? Maybe his real age, maybe the pace of the league, maybe his rehab, maybe how he's looking after his body, maybe the training demands. Honestly, I don't have a clue. Partey, Arteta, Edu, and the medical team would have to tell me what's what. I'm at the point now where I just believe in accepting people for what they are. Partey can't stay fit per se. Just sign other players so that if Partey's fit, great. You've got a great option. If he's not, we're not waffling about it, really and truly. Lokonga only getting Luton in for him shows his level ain't good enough for Arsenal. Needs to put himself in the shop window. It is historical beef today. Long time, mate. Lovely to see you back. I wanted both Xhaka and Partey to stay and add to them. I wanted Xhaka to stay, but at the same time, if they've gone to the manager and said, I want to bust out, then what can the manager do? I'm sure the manager wanted to keep Xhaka and Tini, but if he's told more so Tini that you're not going to play, what can a man do? If Xhaka sat there and said, you know what, Gaffer, you know, I've got a year left on my deal at Arsenal. They're offering me a 3-4 year deal. It's back to the Bundesliga, which is great for my family. Like you, I would love to learn under Xabi Alonso, a new up-and-coming Spanish manager. Xhaka, like a lot of you in your normal 9 to 5s, you've been at a job for a while. You feel like you're not improving necessarily, even though Xhaka on the pitch showed he did. You want a new environment. If they've said that, then they're going to move. The problem is moving beyond that. Now, I like Xhaka. I think Xhaka... And I think a lot of Arsenal fans based on last year. And I think we do miss him. But as much as I like Xhaka and I think he's a quality player and misunderstood, he's not Messi, he's not Neymar, he's none of these guys. We shouldn't be talking about him. Midfield, even if Xhaka and Partey stayed, which Partey's now injured, Xhaka's here, I think we needed 2 centre mids. Now, on one hand, we probably did bring in 2 because you've got Rice and you've got this Havertz experiment. But yeah. Is Partey actually injured? Seeing him on the Pulse IG stories. As we've said, who knows? I think we're just going to have to see really and truly come match day. Ghana team doctor, once again, people, has given an update. He said he sustained a thigh injury in training on Thursday. He's currently unavailable as club doctors expect him to be out for a few weeks. Some say a few months, so I'll definitely take a few weeks. Again, this is said, this sort of injury, whatever it is, he could be out for 3 to 4 months, which rules him out until the new year, which we can't feel certain. The fans can feel sorry for ourselves. The Arsenal Football Club cannot, people. Moving away from that, apparently Arsenal had lined up a replacement for Timber before the end of yesterday's transfer window deadline, but ultimately failed to get a deal over the line. We are told that the club's sporting director, Edu, had conversations with a number of players in the last week, including João Cancelo and Laporte. Laporte, who's left Barcelona on loan. Cancelo is obviously signed for Barcelona. We're also informed that Arsenal had weighed up a surprise move for Zubiamendi and even went as far as contacting the reps of the Real Sociedad midfielder. Probably left it too late. It's thought that a January deal could be on the cards for the Spaniard now, but only if Partey departs the club. Is he going to depart in January? We made an approach for Cancelo, but Pep's side weren't willing to sell or loan us a player, which shows us the mark of progress, people. And we're probably going to have to rely on the young Waters and all of these things. So hopefully they get opportunities and they take it. Moving away from that, Arsenal way up January signing of Thomas Partey replacement after stunning deadline day approach. Arsenal held talks on deadline day regarding the signing of Martin Zubiamendi from Real Sociedad, which could now take place in January, report has revealed. Feels like the rumours are going full circle. Like my man here said, smash the like button. We only miss Xhaka because we didn't get a natural 8 and Havertz so far has not banged true. And I do think we're going to miss Xhaka's leadership qualities. What is your predicted 11? Ramsdale, White, Zinchenko, Gabriel, Saliba, a midfield trio of Odegaard, Havertz, and Declan Rice, Saka on the right, Martinelli on the left. And up front is where it gets a bit techie because Arteta could flip it on its head and say, you know what, Havertz false 9. If Jesus is fit, I do want to start Jesus, but I do think Nketiah deserves to start, really. I think Nketiah deserves to start. Again, it's only been 3 games. I think he's probably our player of the season based on the 3 games / one of the players of the season. I think sometimes you've got to ride these players' pause when they're in good scenarios and things like that. So I'm not sure on up front. A part of me would say start Eddie, but if you put a gun to my head, then I'm going to lose my life if we don't get 3 points. I'm going to go for Jesus. So, yeah. I'd found that Arsenal had contacted Victor Osimhen on trial when Wenger was manager and didn't give him a contract. Another one that got away. He said that before, really. He didn't feel it was the best time for his career, and based on what he's done in Italy and where he is now, it worked out. Arteta has failed massively in this transfer window. We look so short. He's going to have to eat that. How do you think missing out on the league affects the team, either negative or positive so far? Well, negatively, you know, obviously it's gonna hurt, isn't it? Really, you're gonna be in serious pain. You've lost again. We don't know if Arsenal are gonna be fighting for the league again. Personally, I feel while I like where we're moving, I feel the fact that we finished second. I think people have put us on a level that we're not necessarily. So yeah, that would be the negatives. Positively, it gives you something to fight from. You're only learning your L's, in it. You know, the last 2 years. So last season and the year before that, we had a decent year and then we finished fifth. The last year, obviously, we failed at the end. All you got to do is take it in your stride and go one better the next year. Appreciate you for the super chat. Sorry, man, I feel United nicked this today. Hope you're wrong, but love for the super chat and appreciate your talking points. Not going to lie, Xhaka may not have been the best baller, but he played for the badge, so I have to respect him. Amen. So we're going to have to get onto it. It's got to a point where man can predict when Partey is going to be fit or not. That's actually effed. It is what it is, man. Like, we've seen this story before. We could have got Amrabat. I hear that, but it seemed like it was United or a move to Barcelona for him. I think Rice is an excellent signing. Adding another leader in there after losing Xhaka. Need more of that profile. I don't think you're wrong. We definitely... I think you mean win the midfield battle. We can win this game if we put our chances away. Such is life. You put your chances away, you're laughing. Carrying on with this, the news comes from Football Transfers, which claims Arsenal got in touch about a deal for Zubiamendi on deadline day. They're in touch with his reps rather than his current club. So if we weren't in talks with Sociedad, the deal was never that far. Probably we hollered his agents, saw if there's a willingness to move, and maybe we didn't get the positive feedback we were seeking, people. So naturally, if Partey is going to be out, we're going to be linked with several players. Zubiamendi is an absolute baller. I think Sociedad did well to hold on to him. I mean, this is the only image of Partey in training, like literally, and it's not even a zoomed in focus thing, really. That's Partey in training whenever that was. So I'm not too sure when that's going to be the case. Apparently, Romano's explained why Barcelona and Arsenal didn't go for Zubiamendi. Let's see exactly what he said. He wasn't attracted by any other possibilities, so there were no concrete negotiations. Barcelona boss Xavi has been a fan since a long time, but Zubiamendi always wanted to stay, so there was nothing on this summer. In fact, I've skipped out a bit. He said, I've had some fans ask me about what happened after the links with Martin Zubiamendi early in the summer. Honestly, it's very simple. Zubiamendi loves Sociedad, and he wanted to play in the Champions League at Sociedad. So is he really going to snake them in mid-season in January? I'm not too sure. And like my man here, Greg said, he said he wasn't moving mid-season last year. So I mean, anything can change, but it's probably a myth, an absolute myth, in my opinion. So we're gonna just have to eat that. Should we see what Mikel Arteta said in the press conference, people? Big up Nuno Tavares for making his debut and beating them lot down the road. I don't want to talk too much on Declan Rice, but boy, you're signing number 6. You know, that don't really look good in possession. 2 mistakes in 2 games. It's tough out there, man. It's tough out there when you sell your soul to the devil. Nonetheless, Arteta said on Flo, Nuno and Kira leaving, we're working together to find the best solutions, and we found them. I think the players are happy and the club did some good business. Barca already have a stacked midfield. If we want Zubiamendi, then we should be moving more aggressively than Barcelona for him. Arsenal fans are so goddamn fickle. Half a year ago, all you man, I don't know what you're saying there, but it's not really relevant to my live stream. But cool story, bro. DG, please help me understand. No one else can play the role Rice and Partey play. It frustrates me that we didn't end up getting cover for either of them. Why doesn't Arteta learn / dent our squad? I wish I had a clue, but if Arteta deems that we've got enough options, then we've got enough options, and he's going to have to live or die by that, really. The only thing that concerns me is the fact that the games are now starting to ramp up. We've got the Champions League, we've got the league, we've got some massive games coming up in the Premier League, but we're going to have to get on with it. You know, the market's shut. We either feel sorry for ourselves or we get on with it, really. So yeah, on Balogun's transfer, Arteta said we didn't have space for him in the squad to give him the minutes that he needs. He was doing really well last year in his loan period. He's evolving the right way. It's not an Arteta press conference if he doesn't say he's evolving, and wanted the chance to continue developing his career. He's going to a really good club that has a huge experience of developing talent, as everybody knows. So I'm happy for him as well. On whether he was excited about deadline day, for me, it was Sine. If I can't pronounce that word, and I don't have to do much work. We're trying to finalize a few things. On Eddie Nketiah getting a call up for England. Big up Eddie Nketiah. He deserves it. Whether you're going to be a one-cap man is down to you. I'm so pleased. If someone deserves to be in the England squad, that's him. An academy player that had some moments when his pathway wasn't very clear and he had to fight. I love his mentality, his work rate, how much he loves the game, how hard he's fought to be recognized at that level in this country. To play there is phenomenal. I'm so happy for him, and hopefully he actually gets capped. On if he takes pride. Everyone that has been involved in his development feels extremely proud to be on that journey with him. Everyone that has been in the academy with him and that had been on that journey, his family, everyone is proud of him. So it's a really nice moment for him. Amen. And it shows how football's a funny old game, because some scouts saw he got released, signed him with Arsenal. Now he's been called up in the England squad and he's been in the first team. Football's a funny old game. We need more signings though, because we're in the Champions League this year. We do, but the trying for signings is done. Arteta is actually an Eddie stan. I like him a lot, man. I like Eddie. I like how he surprises people. I think he's scapegoated. And I think Arteta likes his mentality, but I just think he likes him as a person. Yo, DG, not much to say on the current squad affairs. Just a Sunday shout to you and the deluded army. Happy Sunday. Right back at you. Happy Sunday to you, man. 41 likes. Can we get that up, man? I don't know. Listen, if anyone wants Arteta out or in, they're allowed their thoughts. You know, this on my channel, you're allowed your thoughts. If you think Arteta's the guy, if you don't think he's the guy, fair enough, Mojo. But what I would say is, provide evidence and balance in it. Don't just scream Arteta in and defend anything, because I don't believe in following anyone blindlessly, really. And don't just scream the guy out. The guy's going to do great things as he has. He's going to make mistakes, just like the players, really. And we're just going to have to get on with it. On putting down a marker against Man United, we know the history between the two clubs and the games that we've had in the past. They're a really good example. So it's going to be a really combative match and a big battle on Sunday. Obviously, we want to come away with the 3 points. Reaction from Fulham on this game being an early indicator of title credentials. I don't know. I think it's too early in the season. We want to win all games. We want to play the best possible way. That's not going to dictate, but it gives you momentum and belief. Before the international break, it's very important to finish well and win your game and go into September with another block of games on a high. Don't think anyone can disagree with that. On why it's a high-scoring fixture against Man United, I think both teams struggled to defend in recent years, but well, first of all, the quality of the players. There's a lot of top offensive players in the two teams, and it's probably the approach of both teams, the way we want to play. There were some errors involved, which hopefully we can eradicate as well. Normally, it's a very entertaining fixture. I want boring. I want entertaining for Arsenal fans only. I want us to score some goals, keep a clean sheet, and go home, really. I don't want it to be exciting for the neutrals. On whether last season has raised expectations, 100%. It has raised the level of every single thing that we do every year, and we have to demand more of each other to be better. When you see the reaction when you draw a match, I think it's a great indicator of where you want to be and the levels that you put on yourself. On how happy he is with our performances this season, really happy. I said against Fulham, and I watched the game twice, that we played 10 times better, 6 or 10, but we definitely played much better. I mean, we need the 3 points though, Gaffer. But it's all about results. One thing is to play really well. The other thing is to compete really well. And what we didn't do when we had to compete in certain moments is the best possible way to do that. We played 10 times better. I reaffirm that to you again. I hear that. On the tactical changes this season, I think we discussed formations in different ways. In the other game, there were 36 different formations in the match. Against Man City, there were 43. So I don't know what formation you're talking about. For me, it's something very different. I'm starting to feel Arteta's getting a bit peed off now with these comments, and I can't begrudge him. If I was Arteta, rightly or wrongly, everything I do, and I'm talking about the journalist, is highlighted, and I guess it comes with the territory. But whether Arsenal have an underwhelming season or a good season or not, I'm quite shocked. I know Arsenal bring engagements. Our fans, we react to everything on social media, but me personally, I'm quite shocked of the Sky Sports, the talk shites, the amount of articles and hypotheses and all these things being written and conclusions, good and bad, being drawn for Arsenal 3-4 games into the season is quite crazy. He then said the personnel was different. We played differently against City, and there were 43 different structures in different phases. Every morning I come from my house to Coley. Sometimes I leave at 6 and I need to wipe the windscreen because it's icy. And at 6 o'clock, normally I go down one road because it's faster. Now it's 20 miles an hour. So sometimes I take a back road and then I go on the M25. But depending on if it's a school ride, then I take one exit. If it's after 7 o'clock, I take a different exit. One day I have a flat tire. What do? You have to replace it and take a different road because the garage is there. So every game is a different story. I think that he's just saying be adaptable. And this is what I mean. Arteta started to get a bit annoyed with the questions, in my opinion. On if he's tempted to use the same team as last season, I cannot do that. I have different players. Zinchenko is injured. Granit is not here. So how can I do that? Unless I bring them back, I don't think it's going to happen. It's going to be different because it's a different season. And that's the beauty of things that I enjoy the most, that it's new and we can do much, much better a lot of things. On whether Zinchenko be involved on Sunday, he's a really important player, but so is Jeren. What he was giving us in those first few games was incredible, but he's not here. So we have to do something else. And if we have another injury, we have to do something else. If Bakayo is not there, touch wood, the ladder, don't even say that, Arteta, we will have something else. So the M25 won't be good enough. Maybe we take another route. But if I speak to a taxi driver who has learned the whole of London for 20 years, I know nothing compared to him because he would tell me all the streets and options there. So maybe that's Arteta telling people, be easy, let me do my thing. On if he's surprised Benjamin White isn't in the England squad. I am when you see certain men certain men are selected. But I'm not, because clearly I don't think it's a football decision with Benjamin White. You know, for the last year and early season, he's been good. I don't think his footballing ability is relevant to Southgate. I think there's something more in that. And he's more or less said the same thing. Arteta's not going to really get on to Southgate. On Smith Rowe's role in the squad, he said he has a role like everyone else does, which is to give his best to make the team better. A bit blasé. On the Champions League draw, first of all, it was great to see. I was there with my kids. They were betting on it, and it was great fun. And it's a trip back to Spain for the Spaniard, really. It is what it is. We don't have any say on it, but there are some beautiful games to play, some very difficult matches as well. We're looking forward to starting that journey. On whether it makes him more exciting for the competition, for sure, we're waiting on it to understand who we're playing. And once we get the pictures and dates, we're preparing for those games. On whether we can win the Champions League this year, let's just get our feet wet in the paddling pool and then learn to swim. Let's just, like Edu said, let's just enjoy the Champions League. I would love to, but you're asking a lot, man. Well, we are participating, so we have a chance. Wenger used to say that all the time. But let's start with the first game and see where we get. On why we didn't go into the market for an injury after Timber's knock, he said, well, we've done quite a lot, and obviously we had a lot of uncertainty over a lot of players as well. So we have to be very cautious and find alternatives and ways. Sometimes you want to do everything that is needed, but sometimes it's not possible and we have to adapt. So rightly or wrongly, any injuries we now get from this point, Arteta's going to have to hold that, really. So yeah, really. On if players had to leave before we could bring more in, yes, but then we could go and buy another 3 players and someone gets injured long term. It's not possible. On Højlund, he said, I'm not talking about players that are not our club. On whether or not knowing Højlund, on if Højlund plays makes United more unpredictable, of course, because we've never seen him kick a ball in a United shirt. On the decision he has to make with his striker selection now, Eddie has been called up to England. No, I don't see it that way. I just see pride there, and it's something that has happened for a reason. The way he pushes everyone, the way he pushes himself every single day to be the best as he possibly can. That's the headache. He gives us everything every single day. I said it when we played Man City that he did it. I'm sure he's done it with everyone he's been with, under 18s, 90s, 21s, 23. He's going to be the same with every team. On having conversations with Emil Smith-Rowe, okay, Gaffer, now we're talking. Obviously, I have conversations with him. It's important for him to understand where he is. It's always going to be tricky in the first 3 or 4 weeks, not just for us, but for all of the clubs, when you see all of the rumors about all the players that are not playing and unhappy, not only in this country, but in every country, because 1 game per week for a month, and everyone has started the new season with huge aspirations. There's not minutes for everyone, but September will be very different. So what's that telling you? Learn. That's, in my opinion, that's Arteta telling Smith-Rowe indirectly. Learn from Eddie and Nketiah. Keep training, keep playing. When your chance comes, take it. It's the calm before the storm. On whether all players can play multiple formations, every player has to do it. Unconsciously, it's possible, but every player has to do it. Some of them do it consciously, unconsciously, provoking the right thing, making the right decision, and others, they just do it naturally and they're in the wrong position a lot. That happens in the game, and that's a fact. On whether that's a new thing in football, it depends a lot on the opposition. Against Man City, there were more because they changed formation more. There's a lot of sequences of play that is permitted, more structured, so it's different. Fair enough. Odegaard has been speaking as well in the United game. I want to kind of scroll straight to big him up for the awards he's won, and that he's won awards in every country. Where's the specific United game? Well, this part is the relevant part to the game. I believe this season we can play in a lot of different ways, said our captain. We are more adaptable, more unpredictable, maybe even unpredictable to ourselves, and could do different things to last season. Last year, we played the same system most of the time, but now with the depth of the squad and the quality of our players, we can mix it up more, and that should strengthen if we use it in the right way. It's always a big one against Man United. We always love to play in these games, especially in front of our supporters here at the Emirates. I remember the game here last season so clearly. The atmosphere was incredible. We're excited to be back here, and we know it will be another big test against United. We have a coach with a very clear idea of how he wants to play, what he wants from his team, and that will obviously determine us if we kick on from last season. It looks as though they're improving all the time. They have quality players throughout the team, so it's a very strong side, but we know just how important a win could be for us. It's true. And that tells me with the system that might be baffling our fans, there's clarity from the manager to the players of what he demands. So that's all that matters. Edu reacted to our Champions League draw as well. I won't bore you lot with that. Big up Edu, same way. Vieira, Martinelli spoke about the United game. It's always a tough game. We're expecting a tough game and we're ready for it. We've been working hard and are going to try our best playing at home with our fans to win the game. It's a big rivalry because we know these are 2 big teams and we want to win. Of course, smash the like button if you haven't, because we play at home in front of our fans. It's always a big game, a tough game. Everyone knows their qualities, but we have our own qualities. We play at home and we need to go for the 3 points. Love that from my man. It's always nice to play against the Brazilians, said Gabriel. To be fair, we have a lot this season. It's good to go to these games and know there's going to be someone you know from your country. It's so nice to have the Brazilians here. It's going to be a very good game, and I wish Anthony all the best, but I want to win the game. Big up the Brazilians and the countrymen, but you don't know them for 90 minutes. Fuck them. Pardon my language. It's us against the world. I know them very well from Portugal, of course, where I played against them, said Fabio. I played with the lot in Porto. It'd be a good game against a good team. But as I said before, we play at home, of course, and after the game, we can swap shirts. But in the game, I want to win. Yeah, 90 minutes, win the game, or attempt to win the game, then you do what you need to do. Eddie Nketiah said he felt numb with his England call-up. He said, let's pause this. My family are all proud of me. My dad, my mum, my 2 sisters, as you should, man. Guy from South London living the dream. We're a number 14 playing well, called up for England. Dream stuff. We all wanted to be footballers. Clearly, Eddie's good at it, and we're just waffling on YouTube. They've been so supportive, taking me to every game and training session. My dad travelled for my first England under 19s game all the way to Qatar. See, this is the moments which is lovely for family members. He's been around, and it's nice to give something back, to have a day like this when we can be proud and the whole family can be proud. So that's Eddie Nketiah, Ramsdale, Saka, and Declan Rice in the squad. I mean, Benjamin White, I think you should be in the England squad, but I don't think it's a sporting decision why you're not there. Apparently, after Pepe, we could tear up Cedric's contract. My guess is we keep Cedric until January now. Whether we believe in Cedric or not is another thing, but he's quote unquote left back, right back, worst comes to worst cover sort of thing, really. And I don't know if he got offers. As you know, a number of players left over deadline day. Balogun cut, Henry Jeffcott joined Derby. I think 2 of our players last season went Derby on loan, and they didn't really play first team football. So I think that's more engineered to go on to just play minutes at some level. Brian Okonkwo has left and joined Leverhead on loan, and his brother's actually left and joined is it Wrexham? Wrexham on loan. Omar Rekic has rejoined Wigan on loan. Arthur's gone to Wrexham on loan, and as I said, we all know Rob Holding's departed to Crystal Palace. Lokonga went to Luton, as some of you have mentioned. Our draw has been confirmed for the Champions League. We all know we have Lens, PSV, and somebody help me, Sevilla. And apparently we've been given dates. Our first game will be on the 20th of September. Our second game will be on the 3rd of October. Our third game will be on the 24th of October. 4th will be on the 8th of November. 5th will be on the 29th of November. And our last game from the group is on the 12th of December. So for September to the end of the season, it's jam-packed with fixtures now. I know you probably have a League Cup game or 2 to play before the turn of the year. As we know, January's jam-packed, and then there's more games. Salah Adin has left and gone to Holland on loan. Nathan Butler-Odeji has gone to Cheltenham Town in League One on loan. Big up the under-21s getting football. Nuno Tavares has went Forest on loan. As you lot know, he made his debut in the victory against Chelsea. Big up Eddie Nketiah on his England call-up. You know, hopefully you're not a one-cap man. We've seen that already. So that appears all there is, man. What are you lot saying? Keep Pepe as backup and let him play FA Cup, Carling Cup, and 10 minutes of the Premier League. I mean, if he doesn't go to Saudi Arabia where the market's still open, really, you know, whoever bidded 100 million for Salah, we've got a right winger out here as well that you could do with. Let him go over there. I would at least, if I was Arteta, clearly Arteta doesn't rate Pepe in terms of what he wants to do. But I think if he does stay, we might as well, I don't know whose place will get lost, but he might as well be on the bench as a wild card. When whatever you've demanded of the boys and it is not working, if the game's crazy, just let Pepe do a thing, really. But I still think his contract will get ripped up, man, if I'm honest. The season is on and the market's closed. We didn't do enough in the window, but no amount of complaints can change everything. Now let's see where we are in Jan, fingers crossed. That's all you can do. All we can do is move on, man. Man gave us Champions League anthem on the home ground after so many years, and all of a sudden our fan base wants the man out after 3 games. Anyone that wants Arteta out, you're allowed your thoughts, but I think that's a bit reactionary still. I don't think anyone should be safe from criticism. Eddie's an average player. Let him be average. You know, if you're average, there's many players that are legends at football clubs that are average. You know, as long as Eddie does his thing, who cares? Big up Matt Live. And Nunes is levels above Eddie. Let's be honest, watching bag 20 this year. Eddie was crap at selling, in my opinion. Balogun hits over 20 goals in the top 5 league and only gets 35 million. Benfica got 80 million for Darwin Nunes. I hear that. But the club, we all know that, you know, everyone knows the English club's got money. We're never going to, not that I'm begrudging it, but we was never going to get 50 odd million from a European club for Balogun. It's the tourist stuff that goes against us, if I'm honest. But then even though I agree and we should have got more for Balogun, he's played 10 times for Arsenal Football Club, 5 of them in the Europa League. He's not completed 90 minutes in the Prem. For an academy prospect that, as we just saw, Arteta said there's no place in the team, 30, 40 odd million is good business. Now, obviously, if Balogun goes and hits 20 again, then we're in trouble. Where we've probably not helped ourselves with Balogun is the man's made clear, I'm not going on loan. Obviously, Arteta's allowed to build his squad however he wants. He doesn't deem that he can contribute to the level he wants to contribute, and his contract is running out till 2025. Eddie, Smith Rowe, and Nelson average. Let's be real. If they move on from Arsenal, I don't think they're starters in any top 10 team in the Premier League. Harsh, man. Harsh. Arteta talks a load of rubbish, bit harsh, but you know, he's the gaffer. He's allowed to talk what he wants, really. Look, I'm not happy, are you, today? I was so happy to see Partey, but he's injury prone. Is crazy. We're gonna have to get on with it, really and truly, man. Will Arteta play a back four today, or is Havertz playing right back? I definitely hope Havertz is not playing right back, but we're gonna have to get on. There's nothing else we could do but get on with it now. Smith Rowe's a lit player, man. You can have your opinion about Smith Rowe. Cole Palmer costs more than Balogun deep. You're selling from one rival to another. Obviously, Cole Palmer can sit there and say, I might not be a key player for City, but you've seen me bag a couple goals in a cup. I hear you, though. Good money. And I would like Edu to get better at selling. Of course, you know, I would have liked more for Balogun. I would have liked a resolution over Pepe. I would have liked Tierney gone permanently if we're going to get him gone. But then I have to wonder if clubs are not willing to pay what's the asking price for Balogun, and Balogun's putting pressure to move on. If people don't want to bid for Tierney permanently, it is what it is. I do think the last two windows, Edu has done very well. I think, you know, we've left ourselves short, but Saka, Saliba, Martinelli, new deals. Obviously, you brought in Declan Rice, Havertz and Timber, the men you wanted. You moved on some players that are not here. I'm not sure there's a single club that's completely happy with every aspect, or better yet, I'm sure if you ask every Premier League manager, even Pep Guardiola, would you have liked a bit more in the transfer market? They're all going to say that. Do you reckon Raya will get a start today? No, I don't, actually, for what it's worth. Injury to Partey may be a blessing in disguise. Forgive me, but how? Like how? To seek to know where you're getting. How injuries are never a blessing in disguise, man. Partey injured doesn't bother me. We act like Jorginho is in a more decent centre mid, defensive mid. Fair enough. Big up DG. I'm just praying we start our original starting 11 today. If not, we shall be in trouble. If Arteta is happy, his team, let's see. So let's see. Big up, whatever you mean there. Partey bossed them last time. How is him being out a blessing in disguise? Dude, playing Partey at right back is painful to watch. I hear that, but when we're actually watching the game, he's not really playing right back, is he? I would like to see him organically start in centre mid, but it's not like he's being right back. Him and Benjamin White are taking turns. He's galloping into midfield. Odegaard is kind of dropping a bit deeper as well. Balogun was just our highest sell ever. How much would Brighton get for Ferguson? I mean, they're going to get over 100 million and bagged the hat-trick yesterday. You know, apparently Arsenal want to move for him next season. What price is he going? What price would you have been quoted this summer to next year? You know, and then Brighton are going to have the next Ivan Ferguson. You have to give credit to Brighton, whether it's players in Ireland, in England, even Billy Gilmore's looking decent all over South America. You know, Asia, where Mitoma's concerned, they get these players and they have good structures for them. I'm sure Caicedo, McAllister, Mitoma all went on loan spells, and they took a while to blood Ferguson in. I would say the better Brighton get, the less they're going to have to do that, really. I think for Brighton, there's two questions they need to ask now. I think they get into a scenario where they need to, for the future Caicedos, McAllisters, Fergusons, they need to hold on to them to create a squad. We've been through that early days of the Emirates where we've got some decent players, Van Persie, Cesc, Nasri, this guy, but Sagna, but every now and again they're all plucked, and then it's almost like cooking and the meal never gets finished. And they've Brighton the last 2 years have finished quite strongly in the Prem, and they're in Europe this year. They need to hold on to some players, or surely their manager De Zerbi is going to get frustrated and he's going to field offers from bigger clubs. Obviously Arsenal, United, these kind of clubs, we don't have the luxury of doing what Brighton's doing. I do rate the scouting. I would like to find these players, but fans are not going to be accepting of all of these players blooding in. Fans want us to sign unknown players. Then when they sign them, they say, who is this? They don't want to give young players time. Fans want stars. They want young players. They want everyone to get a game, but they also want consistency in the lineup. I do think football fans in general cannot be pleased. Eddie has done well. I'm backing him. And to be fair, at least, bro, if he gets a cap for England and Eddie keeps playing how he's playing, if we get to a scenario where we buy a striker that if Jesus finds his goal scoring boots and we shine a striker that's more of an organic one, and Eddie finds his role obsolete in the Premier League with Arsenal, he can be moved on, really and truly. So yeah, man. To be fair, Smith Rowe the season before last year, obviously he was a flight risk, but he did help us against Bournemouth. Former's temporary, class is permanent. People clown Oli, but man wanted Jude, Haaland, and Caicedo. I mean, Ranić, David Moyes, and Oli, they all wanted decent signings at United, and I'm sure even though Ten Hag's talent ID is looking a bit booky, I'm sure he wanted some. Arteta is trying to win the Prem, copying Pep. I mean, naturally, if you've spent time with Pep, you're going to copy things. A bit like all the coaches Pep has had in his life from youth level to now. But I don't think Arsenal and City play the same way for a variety of reasons. And I don't think it's fair to say to Mikel Arteta that he's copying Pep. But if you were to copy someone, who better to copy than the man that's been there, done it, wore the T-shirt several times? Also, Arteta needs to make subs quicker. Ben White after 60 minutes is horrid to watch. Lapse in concentration and easily spun by wingers. I mean, I love Benjamin White, but there's only 2 games this season I'm concerned for him, and that's whenever he plays Marcus Rashford. So let's hope that's not today. DG, great show as usual. It's only great because of you lot's talking points, man. I'm just a facilitator, so I appreciate all of you lot for tuning in. What would be your starting lineup today, and where do you think the game will be won, i.e. midfield? I think it comes, for Arsenal, it comes down to set pieces. It comes down to set pieces and being switched on defensively. I think both teams have shown, you know, Man United in their comeback last week, us in our kind of comeback and then dropping 2 points. Both teams can be their best friends or worst enemies. They have great moments, but then they have moments where individually, collectively, people are making mistakes. People are switching off. There's not that consistent level of concentration. So the team that can concentrate the most, it's a game where you've got to take your chances. You've got to take your chances. We're at home. We've got injuries. United got injuries. Put them under pressure. And obviously the transition, you know, you've seen from last season to pre-season to now, the problems that are rampant in Arsenal's team, they haven't gone away anytime soon. You know, obviously on the transition, set pieces, counter attacks, not following runners. These are things that it takes forever to unlearn bad habits. These are things that are in our game. So if you're United, naturally, they look quite decent on the counter. You've got Marcus Rashford. If we're doing that inverted fullback stuff, we need to be switched on. You know, Zinchenko is definitely going to be targeted defensively today. Really. Sell Eddie Nketiah in January and find out money towards. I think you mean put that money towards Tony. DG just joined. If you've covered this already, is Partey available? Some say it's available, some say it's not. But I think we're only going to see come 4:30 UK time today. White right back, Gabriel, Zaliba, Zinchenko, Rice, Jorginho, Odegaard, Martinelli, Eddie, Saka, and Raya in goal for me today. I think that's too many defensive changes. Big up Raya if he starts, great. But I would probably. Part of me would love Tierney to be available, but I would. Do you know what? A part of me says, you know what, slap Tomiyasu there. But then Zinchenko, us being at the Emirates, us looking to be on the front foot, we know what Zinchenko gives us. A part of me says, you know what, Tomiyasu against Anthony is the thing. But I think I would probably lean towards Zinchenko, Ramsdale, Gabriel, Saliba, Benjamin White, shift over to right back. I think Havertz is going to start, but for me, I'd go. I can't lie. Odegaard, Partey if fit, but Odegaard, Rice. I would bring in Jorginho. You know, I think we need that. Even if El Nene was fit, I think I'm more likely to even gamble on him and Jorginho. So I'd say that. Saka on the right, Martinelli on the left. I don't think Trossard took his chance to start last week. Sorry. And up front, it's a bit techie because a part of me thinks that Eddie might do something today. Start Eddie and Nketiah. But if Jesus is properly fit, that's the man for me, really. These are the things we bought you for, essentially. Eddie isn't good enough, scoring 1 out of 4 or 5 chances. He doesn't score. That's 1 goal very often. He does need to become clinical. But what household striker, Kane, Salah, they miss chances all the time. I'm not saying he's them, but the hardest thing to do is put the ball in the back of the net. But yeah, man, you take advice from the man that's actually doing it, not the man that talks about it and ain't getting it done. Fair enough. Who else would you want to copy? Exactly. Appreciate that, Cornell. Best hope we get top 4. Caicedo and Mudryk are stinking up at the bridge bowl. His pants are truly pulled down. Should we big up Eddie for not going into bidding wars? I mean, one thing that has cost Arsenal, but I respect it, is we've learned from under Eddie and Arteta, we're prepared to miss out on players. Obviously, it's frustrating, but we've seen what happens when we buy players for no reason, and probably we're paying for it off the back of off the back of the last couple of years. As much as I think Eddie and Arteta are kind of righting the wrongs of the previous regimes, we saw what the Willian thing happened. It didn't bang. Marie and Cedric took an eternity to get rid of. We didn't spend correctly with Lokonga and Tavares. We're kind of paying for that now. So yeah, Mudryk could have signed for Arsenal for big boy money or whatever he signed for Chelsea and been lit. But Chelsea is a shambles of a club at this moment in time. So nobody's really set up to thrive, essentially. They need to go back to the drawing board. I have this hunch that Arteta is trying to teeth Waters into the squad. Could explain why he didn't go for a fullback before the window closed. I mean, we'd all love Haylenders to come through, but there's never an ideal time to play and start. You're gonna have to get it. DG hasn't Eddie scored 15 in his last 17 home games. I'm not sure about that, but I think prior to the Fulham game, he had something like 14 goals in 16 starts. Eddie is a good backup striker that cost us nothing. The problem is we don't have a pure 9 like Tony. Amen. I think it's a lazy assumption to say Arteta is copying Pep. I think Arteta is his own man with his own ideas. Same. But naturally, think about it logically. If you've been a previous player, right? You've been under Wenger. You've now been a coach and you've been around Pep Guardiola. You're going to take little bits and pieces just like Pep. Pep said, I'm an ideas thief. You're going to take these things and have your own spin on it. But that's football fans. Don't know what you're saying there, Brian, but one love to your trolling. You're losing your gigahertz for that. I'd personally use it to go on Pornhub or something, but fair enough. You can use your internet how you want to use it. Everyone was saying Rice can replace Partey, so let's see it now then. This is a poor United team. Arsenal has to win. Havertz should start with Zinchenko inverting. I hear that, but I'm always, you know what? The worse the United team, the more scared I am. I'm still scarred by, I think one of the worst United teams I've seen rock up in the Emirates era. They beat us. It was under Louis van Gaal. They had Paddy McNair, bare, just bookie players. And to be fair, boy, we're going to just have to go win the game. I mean, if people want to say Arteta's copying Pep, who gives a crap? You're copying the right person, innit? You're not going to, you're not going to copy, if you're in school and there's someone that's set 5 and dyslexic and things, big up the dyslexic ones, you're not going to copy his homework. You're going to copy the nerd that gets A stars and stuff. So copy the right people, innit? Fair enough. A wise man looks at people who have done it and who haven't done it and learn appropriately and put their own spin on it. While I think it's a lazy assumption, but if they want to say that, hopefully he can copy Pep all the way to winning trophies. Is what it is, man. I don't think we're going to see winning ways the amount of, chopping and changing. Xavi Simons has joined the club on loan. So, yeah, man. Inspiration is the correct term, bro. You have to. There's nothing new under the sun. Zinchenko has limitations, but people forget what he offered last season. He was lit last season for the majority of the season. No such thing as a poor United team, just their fans talking down expectations. Inverted fullbacks is so overrated. I'm tired of the narrative. I think you mean if your forwards are commanding enough, you won't need fullbacks doing shifts up front so much. I disagree, because whether you're playing organic fullbacks or you're playing inverted fullbacks, they create space. So you're going to need your fullbacks to contribute. I do feel we should rely less heavy on, there's been times last season, and I don't want it to be this season, where we're sitting there and saying Zinchenko, we can't connect defense and attack, and we're not creating chances because Zinchenko isn't there. While I agree with it and it makes sense and it is fact, I'm not being funny. A left back not being there should not be the difference between us creating or whatever. I think it was Lingard. I don't know. Rashford seems to have his shooting boots against us all the time, man. DG, if you're giving a manager 1 billion to take the league of City, who's getting it? Oh, man, Mikel Arteta, blood. What do you mean? Zinchenko is never lit. That's rubbish. That's harsh. Zinchenko's lit. He sleeps defensively. And I wasn't happy with the whole team. I don't think when you zonal mark, you need to be switched on. And 3 minutes from the end of a game where the team is down to 10 men from another set piece frustrated me through several scenarios. Obviously, when you zonal mark, nobody's on the post, in which I did think if a fullback was on the post, they might. And the last goal Paulinho scored for Fulham, and it's gone past Ramsdale, was cleared off the line. But in the initial build-up to that, Rice has had to concede the corner. I'm not criticizing Rice because he's had to make it, because Zinchenko's been caught dilly-dallying. Zinchenko is a bit of a fire hazard defensively, but I think he gives us a lot, man. I know you play fullback, DG. Can you invert as well? Not to these man standards, but come on, man. Oh, is this not inverting? I'm telling my kids this was Champions League against Salzburg and that. Bro, inverted, man. Like, man, not to these man standards. Definitely not fit. Yo, DG, I feel like we can never have a complete window and cover the most important areas of the team. Always seems like we're 1 or 2 players short. I agree, man. I will forever be hurt that we let the RB go to Villa. I see him play and it pains my chest. True, but I always think, while I agree we could have done with the RB, the level of interest in the actual world of football to what the papers are saying, are they 2 different things? Because, for all the talk about Zubiamendi, he's still at Sociedad. For all the talk about the clubs at the RB, respectfully, he's gone to Aston Villa. For all the talk around Kudus, Man United, Arsenal, Chelsea, Brighton, I know the Brighton actually made a bid. Respectfully, he's ended up at West Ham. I always say in the market, what's actually said in the papers and what actually happens are 2 different things. If we go back to last January, Mudryk was coming to Arsenal, Cody Gakpo was going to Man United. Where have they ended up? So who knows, man. I would have liked Kudus because I think he's a versatile player, man, really, more than anything. And more than that, he's been linked with us for a while. And being linked is one thing. The David Ornsteins and these kind of guys for the best part of the year were saying Arsenal have an interest. So for me, I was of the thinking, if there's an interest, then evidently we like the player. We like what we see. We like what he can do in the short, medium, and long term. We like how he can turn in, what he can turn into. We like his multifunctionalness. That was enough for me to say, yeah, cool. Obviously, Kudus has shown for Ajax. He showed for Ghana. He's decent as well. But it is where it is, man. If it's not Messi, Neymar, these kind of players that come around once in a while, you're just going to have to keep it moving, really. I'm not going to lie. Based on the game last week, I was looking at it like we could do with Paulinho in the squad. I think just a lot of people who hate Zinny, Kieran Tierney, they're obsessed and annoyed that ain't the guy. we all know fans, even managers, fans play favourites, man. It is what it is. What I would say is, as Arsenal get better and there's more expectations, difficult decisions have to be made. You know, the guys that were here to help us just become back to being competitive again, they might not be there. They might not have been in the team when we needed to get top 4. Now we're in the top 4. The people that can be here to help us challenge for league titles and things, they might not be here. And I think Arteta has shown that with Tierney, with Pepe, with Aubameyang, with Granit Xhaka, that, you know, there's a means to an end at times. Havertz should never start any games for us. It's like some of you fans are blind. I'm not going to lie. If Havertz doesn't do something of significance, and I'm not saying goals or assists, then I think after the break, we might need to try something really, because the Fulham game is the first. I mean, I have been underwhelmed with Havertz. I don't think he's been terrible like some of the media have made out. I don't think he's been amazing, but the Fulham game, especially the backwards passes, that was when I was like, yeah, you know what? You're a Champions League winner, German international. You've got a wealth of experience, veteran experience coming into this team. I wanted to see you stand up to be carried. I wanted to see you, in short, do what Fabio Vieira was doing. I know Fabio got an assist and he won the penalty, but just the way he was moving in all the actions, if I'm honest, is our squad weaker or stronger after the window? Based on the injuries, arguably it's weaker. Zinchenko cost us defensively every game he plays. That's a bit harsh. And Eddie misses the simplest of chances. How can people be putting faith in these players? Is beyond my comprehension. That the RB guy would have been brilliant for Arsenal, covers both wings, and he's up there with Gabby and Saka in terms of quality and output. Is he in terms of output? And I think if you go on WeScout and things, there's quite the contrast between how he performs on the right than on the left. But it would have been nice, man. The RB, who else? Pedro Neto, if he could stay fit. The RB, Kudus, just another body in there would have been lit, man. Don't worry about the RB. Let him do his thing. We need to take him Buemo and Simican in January. I'll be happy. I'd love to see Zinchenko in that Havertz role. He plays centre mid for his country, I swear, and he looks decent. I hear that. But what I would say is maybe Arteta just needs him at left back. And considering the fact that he didn't really cut a career at City as a centre mid and definitely not at Arsenal as an organic centre mid, I would love to know from Arteta, is there any concerns in Zinchenko's game as to why you don't deploy him as an organic centre mid choice? Who knows? Had Timbro been fit and Havertz was doing what he's doing, maybe that would have been something. Fabrizio is spot on, but seems off when it comes to us because Edu and them are too flaky. I just think Arsenal try to keep their cards close to their chest. Shout out the members. Oh, I hope you're doing well. Big up the Canadians, and I hope we do this today. Yeah, he did get done. I wouldn't say Tierney's trash, and he can't be Brendan Williams. He's in the Champions League, certain man at Ipswich. What? Not Brendan Williams that United fans try to compare to Bukayo Saka. Eddie is a good backup striker who's scoring while Jesus is misfiring. I love Jesus, but he's got to realize no one's safe if you ain't scoring. Eddie will play and deliver healthy competition. I think one of the most underrated performances from Eddie Nketiah last season was, and I know Spurs didn't have the team that they had the game they had, but his performance at White Hart Lane last season, I know he should have scored. Fire is right. He should have bagged in that game, but I think he done very well against Romero. And I do think Eddie's starting to come into his own. Whether him coming to his own correlates with him truly being able to carry Arsenal in that number 14 shirt is another thing. Really, it is another thing. So we're going to have to see. With that being said, though, people, I want to go and get some lunch before, obviously, I'm live at 3:30 with you lot across Twitch and YouTube. I appreciate you lot for giving up your time, talking points, differences of opinions, whether you're on Twitch, YouTube, etc. Again, we will be doing a watch along. I'll be live an hour before kickoff, so I hope to see you lot there, people. If not, then yeah, I hope you lot stay safe, stay blessed, stay in good health. Happy new month to you lot. And yeah, Fabio Vieira's looked good in his cameos, but it's a bit like Trossard. I personally feel when Trossard starts, he hasn't really consistently delivered. I think he started at Brighton last year. I think he started at Fulham and he did his thing. But I think he's looked better as a super sub. And that's the challenge for Fabio Vieira. When you get your opportunity, take it. But yeah, I'll see you lot at 3:30 UK time. You lot stay safe, stay blessed. Make sure you're subscribing and smashing the like button if you haven't. One love.
There's always just that active red flag. Defending, I think, it's like...
Tongue